Nobody can do it like me. Nobody. Nobody can do it like me. Honestly.
Nobody's stronger than me.
Nobody has better toys than I do.
There's nobody bigger or better at the military than I am.
Nobody loves the Bible more than I do.
Nobody builds walls better than me.
Nobody's better to people with disabilities than me. Nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans.
There's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
There's nobody more pro-Israel than I am. There's nobody more conservative than me.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
There's nobody's ever had crowds like Trump has had.
There's nobody that understands the horror of nuclear better than me. And nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation. The sale of the uranium that nobody knows what it means. I know what it means.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the game better than I do.
Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me.
Nobody knows politicians better than I do.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do. Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
The world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States. America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail. We will not allow American cities to be threatened with destruction, and we will not allow a regime that chants death to America to gain access to the most deadly weapons on earth.
All right, we're going to sign 3 memorandums right now. The first one is withdrawal from the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Everyone knows what that means, right? We've been talking about this for a long time. Thank you. Okay. Great thing for the American worker, what we just did.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord Thank you.
These are shocking and shameful comments from the President of the United States. I'm sorry, but there's no other word one can use but racist. You cannot dismiss entire countries and continents as shitholes whose entire populations, who are not white, are therefore not welcome. The positive comment on Norway makes the underlying sentiment very clear. And like the earlier comments made vilifying Mexicans and Muslims, the policy proposals targeting entire groups on grounds of nationality or religion, and the reluctance to clearly condemn the anti-Semitic and racist actions of the white supremacists in Charlottesville. All of these go against the universal values the world has been striving so hard to establish since World War II and the Holocaust. This isn't just a story about vulgar language, it's about opening the door to humanity's worst side. It's about validating and encouraging racism and xenophobia that will potentially disrupt and even destroy the lives of many people. And that's perhaps the single most damaging and dangerous consequence of this type of comment by a major political figure.
The America First president on the world stage today, making headlines with this moment. President Trump appearing to push aside the Prime Minister of Montenegro to get in front for a photo op. And as for those allies he spent the campaign offending,
NATO is obsolete, it's old, it's fat, it's sloppy.
President Trump later changed his mind, but today, instead of making nice, he scolded them.
NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. When you're in the White House, this is a very sacred place to me. This is a very special place. You have to treat the White House with respect. You have to treat the presidency with respect.
On the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also saying
I don't know why you'd
that
say that. It's such a racist question. You just have to sit down, please. Sit down. I didn't call you. I didn't call you.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions. The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. They're going to cover Pocahontas? Who was... Think of it. Think of it. She of the great tribal heritage. What tribe is it? Let me think about that one. Meantime, she's based her life on being a minority.
A show now headed by Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd. He's a sleeping son of a bitch, I'll tell you.
Oh, I'd love Oprah to win. I'd love to beat Oprah. I know her weakness. Maxine Waters, a very low IQ individual. You ever see her? You know what they're talking about. And packing the courts with radical judges to overrule the will of the American people. It's not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. Last week, they're saying we'll impeach him. Impeach him for what? For what? Even though we've done nothing wrong, other than create one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. That'd be interesting. You get impeached for having created the greatest economy in the history of our country, the best job numbers in the history of our country, just about, right? The greatest trade deals, which we've just finished, in the history of our country. The biggest regulatory cuts by far already in less than 2 years, bigger than any other president during their entire term or terms. The biggest tax cuts and reforms, you got a lot of money back in the history of our country. But the Democrats have become too extreme, and they've become, frankly, too dangerous to govern. They've gone wacko. Elizabeth Warren. Oh, I hope she runs. I hope she runs. Then we can finally get down to the fact as to whether or not she has Indian blood. How about Senator Feinstein? That's another beauty. That's a beauty. Did you leak the documents? What? No, I didn't. Did we leak? Did we leak? No, we didn't. Did you ever see? No. She goes, no. He just said, no, we didn't leak.
I haven't looked yet at the stock market, but it's been going up at record clips. We have a tremendous streak going on, and that's only because of the optimism.
The stock market has gained almost $3 trillion in value since the election on November 8th, a record.
We've added $3.3 trillion.
$3.4 trillion.
Almost $4 trillion.
We've created more than $5 trillion.
Since Election Day, $5.2 trillion in value. More than $7 trillion. We've created now almost $8 trillion worth of value just in the stock market.
And by the way, the stock market since our election is through the roof. Isn't it too bad that the Obama administration gets a lot of credit?
Our stock market has reached an all-time high today. All-time high. Think of it. Nobody ever talks about it. I just want to state that, as you probably have noticed, The stock market hit an all-time record high today. Very proud of our stock market, what's happened since I became president. The stock market hit today 23,000. That's an all-time record high, so congratulations to everybody in our country. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something so important. General Dunford, if you would carry that assignment out, I would be very greatly honored also. Where's General Dunford? General? Got it? Let's go get it, General. I want each and every one of you to know that we will always protect those who protect us. You protect us. We are always going to protect you. And you just saw that because you just got one of the biggest pay raises you've ever received, unless you don't want it. Does anybody here? Is anybody here willing to give up the big pay raise you just got? Raise your hand, please. Oh, I don't see too many hands. Okay. Today I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay. Together, we're going to deliver real change that once again puts America first. That begins with immediately repealing and replacing the disaster known as Obamacare. That's the group. Thank you. I don't think there was one Wall Street genius, of which I know many of them, but they're not geniuses. There's not one that predicted anywhere close to these job numbers. I thought they were going to be good.
Not just Wall Street, though. Oh, no, it's way more than that.
I know more about the other side than almost anybody. I know more about steelworkers than anybody that's ever run for office.
I know more about contributions than anybody.
I know more about politicians than anybody. I know more about courts than any human being on earth. I know more about renewables than any human being on earth.
I understand money better than anybody.
I understand it better than anybody. I know more about drones than anybody. I know about every form of safety that you can have.
President Trump says he knows more than anybody, with apparently one exception. Nobody.
Having a drone fly overhead, and I think nobody knows much more about technology, this type of technology, certainly, than I do. Let me explain how the world works, okay? I think nobody knows more about taxes than I do. Nobody knows more about trade than me.
I think nobody knows more about campaign finance than I do.
Nobody understands it. Nobody knows the system better than me. Nobody knows the system. Nobody knows the system. Nobody knows it better than me. Nobody knows it better. Nobody knows what it means. I know what it means. Nobody even understands why. I think I understand why, but I won't say it. When was the last time you saw Merry Christmas? You don't see it anymore. If I become president, we're all going to be saying Merry Christmas again. We're going to be saying Merry Christmas again. That I can tell you. You see, I have a wall that's painted red. Oh, great. Oh, that's wonderful. If I'm president, you're going to see Merry Christmas in department stores. Believe me. We're going to be saying Merry Christmas again. We're going to be saying that I can tell you. And I have friends that aren't Christian. They like to say Merry Christmas. They love it. Everybody loves it. Our First Lady to get ready, and maybe we'll do a countdown from 10. So we'll go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.